Hey everybody, this is Andrea Jenson from the Cash Flow CFO, and you're listening to the Cash Flow CFO Podcast, the show that explores the financial side of running a business for people who want to maximize profitability and scale with confidence. If you want to make smart financial decisions based on data and put more of your hard-earned profits into your pocket, this is the podcast for you. This episode of the Cash Flow CFO podcast is brought to you by the Cash Flow CFO. Did you know that on average, business owners have up to 84% of their personal net worth tied up in their business? Our virtual CPAs and CFOs, as well as accounting and bookkeeping experts, empower business owners just like you to make big leaps that help them maximize profitability and scale with confidence. Visit thecashflowcfo.com for more information, and thank you for listening. Hey, it's Andrea Jenson, and I'm excited that you're here today because I would like to talk about something that all business owners should be doing right now as we are preparing to wrap up 2023 and move into the new year. It's important that there's some things happening on the financial side that are going to be setting you up for success as we move into the new year. So let's go ahead and dive in and talk about some of those. But before we do, I just want to ask you a quick reminder. If you have not subscribed yet, please do so. And also leave us a review. If you find our content valuable, I'd love to hear your thoughts about that. So please go ahead and do that. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover in the future episodes, feel free to reach out to us. You can send me an email directly at andrea@thecashflowcfo.com. All right. So as we approach 2024, it is crucial for business owners to be prepared for opportunities, challenges, whatever lies ahead. And, we like to say, gosh, if I had a crystal ball that I could predict the future, here's what it would look like. But we don't. But we do have several things that will help us to at least plan and be prepared and have some what if scenarios outlined so that you are confident and you are proactive versus reactive as we move into the new year and we're wrapping up this year. And when we talk about wrapping up this year, that's number one of the two things that you should be doing right now in your finances and in your business. It is getting a very clear picture on what is this year going to look like. So in order to do that, you should be tying out your balance sheet and cleaning up your P&L through the end of Q3. And the reason that this is so important is that you need to have an accurate view of where you are likely going to end up come December 31st. So this is important on many different aspects of strategy, of profitability, of paying taxes and things like that. So tying out, get your bookkeeper, make sure this is something that they are doing right now so that when you look at your balance sheet, your Q3, everything is tied out. Your fixed assets are entered. Your depreciation has been entered in from prior year tax return, and you're taking a look at your fixed assets and you're identifying, what of these things are going to be depreciated over amount of time, or what things are going to be written off in the current year. That's something you can talk to your tax strategist about as well, or your tax preparer, and they'll help you to identify. You want to make sure that your loan payments are classified correctly. So if you have loan payments, you want to make sure that your interest is going to the P&L, the principal is decreasing the loan balance, and that statement at the end of Q3 ties to the books. You want to make sure your equity is recorded correctly. If you've loaned money to the business, if you've borrowed money, if you've taken a distribution or a dividend, depending on your business entity structure, you want to make sure that all of that is recorded correctly. This is going to allow you to smoothly sail into the end of the year. And it's going to also give you a clean look at the tax strategy and the tax plan that you had into 2023. How does that match up according to what's actually happened? So that's super important for you to look at. You should be reviewing that with your tax preparer so that you can make any year-end corrections or adjustments so that there's no surprises come tax time as we move into 2024. All right, so that's number one. And number two is something that I'm going to talk a lot about. This is something that is a absolute cornerstone tool that you have to have in your business, and it is a financial forecast and a budget for the year, the upcoming year. So a lot of times I hear from our business owners that creating a forecast and a budget is something that is scary to them. And so I just want to address that before I dive into some of the more strategic direction on doing this. But a forecast and a budget should be considered kind of like an anchor in your financial plan. Your business is an asset, and that asset needs to be, increasing in the value of it, right? So we want to be creating an asset that the value is growing every year, and it is something that can be sold, leveraged. You can get financing when you need it. Like, these are all of the important things. And in order to do that, you have to understand where you're at, where you're going, and how you're going to get there. So I know when we talk a lot about setting goals, people talk about SMART goals, right? And those there's a strategy behind a SMART goal. And I want you to think of your forecast and your budget similar to that, because we're not just pulling numbers out of the sky and going, oh, I want to double next year. Oh, I'm in a 50% increase. Okay, that's great. And absolutely, if you have the right strategy in place, you can achieve those big growth goals. But what are all the small components that go into that? Those are the things, those are your key performance indicators that really are going to drive the outcome. And when you create a forecast and a budget, it's important that you get super clear on those so that you have those small, manageable goals that you're working on a daily, weekly, monthly basis that are ultimately going to get you to that big outcome. Okay. So don't think of this as, we're just crunching numbers. No, we're setting the strategic direction for your business, and it's going to ultimately help you so much as you move into the next year, because you're proactively accomplishing things and setting small goals for your team to do versus being reactive to whatever's happening in the economy and happening in just all the micro components of your business. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump in. And first thing I want to do is I want to set the stage. So the first step in creating a financial forecast and a budget is to start by reflecting on where are you at now. So what is your business's current health right now, financial health? And what are those key takeaways from 2023 that are going to help you to inform the decisions that we're going to make for the upcoming year? So that's one piece of it. The other piece is that we want to also look at what are those industry trends? What are the economic indicators that might come into play and affect your business, whether good, bad, in between? We want to understand what that's going to look like. So we're going to talk a lot about that. And I'm going to give you some strategic guidance on how to pull all those pieces together and to create that for your business. So the next thing we're going to look at is we're going to dive into revenue forecasting. So a forecast is part science, part art, right? And I like to look at it that way because we want realistic revenue projections for the upcoming year. And here's the science piece, right? We're going to look at historical data. We're going to look at market trends. We're going to look at customer behavior in order to make those accurate revenue predictions. But then the art piece comes in is, what are those strategies that you're going to implement to maximize your sales and revenue growth in the year ahead? What are the assumptions that you're going to make about leading indicators, right? A leading indicator is what happens before a sale takes place. So what is your current conversion rate from a lead to a sales conversation? What is your current conversion rate from a sales conversation to a completed sale? So there's tools and techniques that we're going to use. We're going to analyze historical data, market trends, customer behavior, so that you can do all of that going forward. So that's going to be its own episode, which will follow this in a sequence here. And we'll be putting together lots of actionable steps that you can be doing in order to perform your correct revenue projections as you put this plan together.
Start scaling with confidence today. The Cash Flow CFO is a full-service accounting and fractional CFO firm. So it goes without saying that our financial experts are phenomenal at number crunching. But more than that, they are expert communicators who will connect all those complicated financial dots in a way that just makes sense. We don't wait in the wings and check in every so often either. With our boutique approach, we position ourselves front and center, watching over every dollar that comes in and out of your business as if it was our own. So if your business is making money and you're ready to take it to the next level, but you're not sure you completely understand your numbers, and you're looking for that trusted guide to help you build a roadmap to reach your financial goals, it sounds like we would be a great fit. Visit thecashflowcfo.com and let's get started empowering you to build and scale your business the way you want to today.
So the next thing we're going to talk about is expense management. And expense management is a very critical part of your financial success. So we're going to talk about that in its own episode as well, because there's a lot that goes into that, right? There's a lot of, what are the strategies that you're using to maintain that financial discipline throughout the year? We talk about a highlighter review. If you haven't heard us talk about that, go check out our training on how to do a highlighter review so that you can maintain your budget versus actual, and it'll help you improve your financial discipline on a monthly basis. But we're also going to talk about how do we scrutinize your existing business expenses as your revenue increases, right? Because a lot of businesses are not going to have revenue projections for the next year that are going to stay flat, right? They want to grow. And so what of your expenses are fixed and what of your expenses are variable? And of those variable expenses, what is the ratio as your revenue increases? How fast are those variables going to increase as well? And how do we need to put a plan in place to account for that, right? So there's going to be a format that you're going to use to create those projections of how that expense is going to continue to go up as your revenue does. And also we're going to look at how are you going to identify areas for cost reduction. So are we, as your revenue increases, are we looking at taking an expense and turning it into a revenue stream? Are we looking at, how are we going to prioritize the spending for the growth and profitability of what's next in your business? And all of those components are so, so, so important to understand and have a plan in place for, because you're going to have to pull in your team. You're going to have to pull in heads of different departments. They're going to have a budget, so you're going to have the main budget, and you're going to have department level budgets that your team is responsible for. So there's a lot of strategy, a lot of forward-looking planning that needs to go into how you're managing your expenses. Another key aspect that we're going to talk about is planning for capital expenditures. So whether this is investments, expansion, unexpected challenges, things that come up that you want to have a if this, then that. So scenario based capital, planning. So you want to have this well thought out plan that's going to help you to understand, assess your capital needs. How are you going to pay for those, right? When we talk to new clients for our CFO services, one of the first things that we identify is, what is your risk tolerance? So you can have somebody that comes in, a business owner, that says, oh, I want to double my business next year. Awesome. Okay. We break it down into all the steps that that's going to take. And one of those pieces, the really big piece, is your ability to, what is your risk tolerance? Are you going to self-fund? Are you going to raise capital? Are you going to take out a line of credit, a loan, SBA financing? Like, there's a lot of different ways that you can put that dollar amount that you're going to need as you're growing the business. But you have to understand, you personally as a business owner, like, what is the amount of risk that you are comfortable taking? And I don't think enough business owners think that part through when they have these great goals for growing their business. There's a lot that, you're going to have to stomach some months of having a negative net income, because all the money is going back. You're reinvesting into that next growth, your jump in revenue, and how much it's going to take to pay for all of those things that it's going to require from your business from an operating standpoint. All right, so then we're going to look at risk assessment. So as business owners, this is part of the game, right? We all have to acknowledge and understand that risks are part of what we do. So when we talk about risk assessment, identify what those risks are. You need to assess and mitigate, how are those risks going to impact my financial forecast and my budget? What are all of the what if scenarios that could happen? And I'm going to want to have a plan in place that will help me to feel secure and confident that I'm still being proactive if some of these things happen, and it might derail my original plan from what it is that I wanted to do. So proper risk management is one of the fundamental keys to ensuring that your financial stability and your growth stays intact no matter what kind of gets thrown at you and comes your way. The other thing that's really important as you're building out your forecast and your budget is flexibility. So flexibility is super, super essential, especially in today's business environment, right? Things are changing quickly. When we look at just one component of a not a cash flow forecast, of a financial forecast, your sales activity, right? When we look at lead generation and how much it's costing us to generate leads in our business, that is very volatile, right? There's changes that are outside of our control when it comes to generating leads. And without leads, you're not going to have sales conversations. Without sales conversations, you're not going to generate revenue. So that's where it's super important to have that flexibility and to build it into your plan. So you need to strategically build a way to adapt and to change to any unexpected challenges that might come your way. And on the flip side, you also want to be able to be in a position to seize any opportunities that might come your way. So, you might see assets that you can acquire in your business from companies that aren't going to, whether they can't continue or, the owner is ready to retire and sell. There might be assets that you have an opportunity to purchase that are going to help you hit those revenue goals, capital expenditures, things like that. You want to be able to be prepared. So flexibility is super important. So you're fully prepared to respond to whatever may come your way as you're going through that next year and doing the the implementation, if you will, of the hitting your revenue goals and then your budget that comes behind it. The next one is monitoring and adjusting. So I can't stress this enough. This is something that is the cornerstone of our CFO delivery as we work with our clients, regular monitoring of your financial performance. This is going to allow you to make those necessary adjustments throughout the year. So I'm going to share some very, very action driven tools and techniques that you can use to help stay on top of your budget and your forecast. And that's going to ensure that you can achieve those financial goals that you've set for 2024. So that's going to be a whole separate episode of our podcast because there's so many things in there that I just wouldn't be able to get to them all today. So that one is super, super important. And, really, by implementing these tools and these techniques that I'm going to talk about, you're going to have the ability to enhance and manage those budgets and forecasts effectively. So you're ultimately going to stay on track to hit your goals that you've set out for the upcoming year. And you're also going to have this proactive approach to managing, the constantly evolving business environment that we're all in. So, okay, I talked about a lot of components. And if your head is spinning right now and you're just thinking to yourself, I really need to have a budget. I really need to have a forecast for next year. And I just don't have the bandwidth to create it on my own, or I don't have the team that has the financial expertise to do that. That's what a lot of business owners that I talk to, they say, I keep asking my bookkeeper to prepare this for me. And I have to kind of walk them through to change the way that they're thinking of the skill set that their bookkeeper has, because a bookkeeper definitely does not have the skill set to create all of the components that I just outlined for what you should be doing right now in your finances. And that's a CFO level, right? That's a senior level financial professional, 20 plus years. They've got multiple degrees and certifications. Those are the people that should be helping you to prepare this. And so if you're listening to this and you're like, gosh, I just need somebody to do this for me, reach out. We can talk about what that would look like. Andrea at the Cash Flow CFO. And this is the time to do it right now. So be prepared for next year. Move confidently into achieving what your goals are for your business and increasing the value of your asset. Super important, right? You guys are busting your butts out there. Make sure it's worthwhile. Make sure you're seeing the value of your asset increase as your business is growing. And stay tuned for our future episodes because I'm going to go through and break down all those components and give you takeaway actionable items that you can do if you choose to do this on your own. And then that way you're setting yourself up for success as you move into the upcoming year, and also super successful as you close out this year. It's very important that you are reviewing the tax situation for your business and making sure that you don't have any surprises come tax season next year. So, all right. Thank you so much for your time today. I'm excited to dive into this with you, and I'm excited for your feedback. So feel free to reach out, subscribe, like us, leave us a comment, and let us know, where you're at with preparing your budget for the upcoming year. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and review, and we'll catch you on the next episode. If you're looking for more content or resources in the meantime, check out our website for information, blogs, and our I've Got a Spreadsheet for That series. That's thecashflowcfo.com. Again, thecashflowcfo.com. We can't wait to hear from you.